One moment, the world was scrolling like normal. The next, a single whisper tore through the internet so violently it felt like someone had pulled the emergency brake on celebrity culture itself. A legendary sister duo. Decades of shared fame. Smiles perfected for cameras. And then, documents. Private. Devastating. Never meant to exist outside a locked room. Suddenly appearing where they shouldn't. Passed hand to hand. Screenshot to screenshot. Like a secret that escaped captivity. The younger sister didn't rage when she found out. She broke. Insiders say she dropped to the floor, shaking, unable to speak, staring at her phone as if it had betrayed her. Because the betrayal didn't come from an enemy. It didn't come from the media. It didn't come from a hacker. It came from the one person she trusted more than anyone else in the world. Her own blood. The older sister's name started trending before anyone understood why. Deleted posts. Cryptic captions. A silence so loud it felt intentional. Fans split instantly. Some refused to believe it. Others said the signs were always there. Old interviews resurfaced. Side eyes suddenly made sense. Jokes that weren't jokes anymore. And then came the line that froze everyone watching. She knew exactly what she was doing. That's when it stopped being gossip. Because if the leaks are real, if the insiders are telling the truth, then this wasn't an accident. This wasn't carelessness. This was a weaponized secret. A private truth turned public. A family implosion unfolding in real time. And what happens next is even worse. The fallout didn't begin with headlines. It began with silence. The kind of silence that follows a scream no one hears. According to insiders, the younger sister, international pop star Mariah Banks, didn't find out from social media. She found out from a phone vibrating endlessly on her kitchen counter. Missed calls. Unread messages. One text that simply said, "You need to see what's going around." When she opened the attachment, her hands reportedly went numb. Official-looking pages. Stamps. Dates. Language so clinical it felt cruel. Information so personal it made the room spin. She sat down hard, like her body had given up before her mind could catch up. Because those documents weren't just private. They were protected. Guarded. Trusted to only one other person on Earth. Her older sister, global icon Alana Banks. The betrayal didn't make sense at first. It couldn't. Alana had been her shield since childhood. The one who taught her how to survive fame, how to smile through chaos, how to keep family business inside the family. That's why the realization hit like a delayed explosion. If these documents were out, there were only two possibilities. Someone had gone through hell to steal them. Or someone with access had let them go. And the more Mariah looked at the file names, the timestamps, the familiar formatting, the harder it became to deny the truth clawing its way to the surface. Within hours, the inner circle was in full panic mode. Managers, lawyers, assistants, all scrambling, all asking the same question in hushed tones. Who saw this? The answer kept coming back the same. Not many. And every time it did, the circle grew smaller until there was nowhere left to look but inward. Meanwhile, the internet was waking up. Group chats leaked to fan forums. Blurry screenshots hit anonymous accounts. People argued over authenticity, while secretly knowing they felt real. Too real. This wasn't fan fiction. This was a life cracking open. Mariah didn't post. She didn't comment. She didn't even cry at first. Sources say she went eerily calm, the kind of calm that terrifies the people who know you best. She replayed old conversations in her head. Moments when Alana had asked questions that felt harmless at the time. Moments when she'd said, "I'll handle it for you," with a smile that now felt rehearsed. The realization was suffocating. If this leak was intentional, it wasn't just betrayal. It was strategy. Then Alana posted. Not a denial. Not an explanation. Just a cryptic message that detonated like gasoline on an open flame. People should stop acting shocked by things they knew were coming. It was up for 7 minutes. Long enough to be screenshot 1,000 times. Long enough for fans to read it as confirmation. Long enough for Mariah's phone to light up again with messages that felt like knives. When Alana deleted it, the damage was already irreversible. Twitter turned into a battlefield. One side insisted Mariah was being targeted. The other claimed Alana was protecting the family brand at all costs. Old interviews resurfaced where Alana spoke about sacrifice and hard decisions. Clips were slowed down, analyzed frame by frame. Commentators speculated wildly. Some said this was revenge for a long-buried argument. Others whispered about contracts, control, and a power struggle that had been brewing for years. Every theory made the situation worse. Behind closed doors, the confrontation finally happened. No cameras. No witnesses willing to go on record. Just two sisters in a room that had once been filled with laughter. Insiders say Mariah didn't yell. She asked one question. Did you send them? Alana didn't answer right away. That pause became the most devastating moment of all. Because in that silence, Mariah got her answer. Whatever Alana said next didn't matter. The trust was already gone. What followed was chaos. Raised voices. Accusations flying like shrapnel. Alana allegedly insisted she was trying to control the narrative before it controlled them. Mariah reportedly screamed that her life wasn't a narrative. That her pain wasn't a strategy. That no brand was worth this. Neighbors later claimed they heard shouting, then sobbing, then a door slam, so loud it echoed down the hall. Hours later, another leak hit. This one wasn't documents. It was audio. A short clip. Grainy. Distorted. Two voices arguing. One crying. One cold. The internet exploded all over again. Was it real? Was it staged? Who recorded it? Fans dissected every syllable. Voice analysts weighed in. Comment sections turned vicious. And in the middle of it all, Mariah finally appeared, live, unfiltered, eyes red, voice shaking. I never thought I'd have to protect myself from my own family, she said, before breaking down completely. That moment shattered what little doubt remained. Sympathy poured in from celebrities, fans, even rivals. But just as quickly, another wave followed. People asking what Alana knew. What she was hiding. What else hadn't surfaced yet. Because if documents and audio were already out there, the unspoken fear was obvious. This wasn't the full story. Insiders began whispering about messages that hadn't leaked yet. About conversations recorded just in case. About a plan that went wrong when emotions got involved. And as the sisters retreated into opposite corners, one thing became painfully clear to everyone watching: this wasn't just a family feud. This was the first crack in something much bigger. And whatever comes next won't be contained. The moment the audio clip hit, the situation crossed a line no one could walk back from. This wasn't speculation anymore. This wasn't theory. This was evidence, raw, messy, and terrifyingly intimate. Even though the clip was short, barely 30 seconds, it felt endless. A door slamming. A voice cracking. Another voice steady, almost rehearsed. Meanwhile, Alana vanished. No posts. No statements. No public appearances. For someone known for never backing down, the silence was deafening. Fans noticed her team unfollowing certain accounts. A longtime collaborator wiped old photos. A scheduled appearance was abruptly cancelled with no explanation. People whispered the same word over and over, lawyers. Then came the second audio. This one was longer. Clearer. And infinitely worse. It didn't leak all at once. Just a transcript fragment, shared by an anonymous account with a history of accurate drops. The account claimed the recording was insurance. A conversation between the sisters from months earlier. In it, one voice allegedly warned, "If you don't let me manage this, it will get ugly." Another voice responded, "You don't get to decide my life." The implication was horrifying. This wasn't about one incident. This was a power struggle years in the making. The internet combusted. Celebrities who had stayed silent suddenly chose sides. One posted, "Family shouldn't do this to family." Another wrote, "Control disguised as love is still control." Fans clashed violently. Comment sections turned cruel. Some accused Mariah of playing victim. Others accused Alana of emotional manipulation. Old clips resurfaced where Alana spoke about owning the narrative. What once sounded empowering now felt ominous. Behind closed doors, the family fractured completely. Relatives stopped speaking. Group chats went dark. A source claimed a planned mediation collapsed when one side demanded the recordings be destroyed and the other refused. Trust was gone. Fear replaced it. Because if one recording leaked, how many more existed? That question became the obsession. Journalists hinted there were multiple files. Not just arguments, but planning conversations. Discussions about timing. About what the public could handle. About sacrifice. One reporter posted a cryptic line that sent chills through the fandom. This was never meant to stay private forever. No clarification. No follow-up. Just that. Mariah reappeared briefly, posting a single story before deleting it. "Stop saying this was for my own good." That sentence alone shifted everything. It reframed the entire situation. What if the leak wasn't about malice? What if it was about control? About deciding what truths belonged to whom? As pressure mounted, a shocking twist emerged. A former employee, now anonymous, claimed Alana hadn't acted alone. According to them, outside advisors encouraged the strategy. Media consultants. Industry figures who believed exposure was inevitable and chose to manage it aggressively. If true, this wasn't just a family betrayal. It was a coordinated decision backed by professionals. That revelation shook even Alana's most loyal supporters. Because it suggested something far darker than sibling rivalry. It suggested Mariah's pain had been weighed, measured, and approved by people who saw it as collateral. Then the biggest bombshell yet dropped late one night. An account with deep industry ties posted, "Everyone's focused on the leaks. No one's asking why the recordings were made in the first place." That question changed everything. Why record a sister? Why keep files labeled, stored, backed up? Why prepare for a future where trust might fail? The implications were terrifying. It suggested anticipation. Planning. A belief that this relationship would eventually implode, and preparations were made for that moment. By morning, rumors spread that Mariah had been advised to take legal action. That restraining order was discussed. That cease and desist letters were drafted. Alana's camp denied everything through unnamed sources, calling the leaks selectively edited, and misrepresented. But they still wouldn't deny the recordings existed. The public sensed it immediately. This wasn't ending quietly. And just when it felt like the story had reached maximum chaos, whispers began circulating about one final file. Not audio. Not text. Something visual. Something that would change how everyone saw both sisters. Insiders said if that surfaced, there would be no reconciliation. No coming back. And as the internet held its breath, one terrifying thought took over every conversation. What if this was only the middle of the story? By the time dawn broke, the internet wasn't just watching anymore. It was waiting. Refreshing. Holding its breath, like something catastrophic was already in motion, and no one knew exactly when it would land. The rumor of a final file changed everything. Not audio. Not text. Visual. The kind of evidence that doesn't leave room for interpretation. The kind that burns itself into memory and can't be explained away with statements or spin. Behind the scenes, panic reached a level insiders described as containment mode. Emergency meetings were called in the middle of the night. Phones rang non-stop. Lawyers argued with publicists. Publicists argued with managers. Managers argued with each other. And in the center of the storm were two sisters, who were no longer speaking directly at all. Every message went through intermediaries. Every word was weighed like it could trigger an explosion. Mariah, according to people close to her, finally stopped crying and started shaking with anger. Not the loud kind. The cold kind. The kind that comes when grief hardens into resolve. She allegedly told her team one sentence that made the room go quiet. If she planned for this, I'm done protecting her. That was the moment insiders knew the tone had shifted. This wasn't about survival anymore. It was about truth. Then the visual leak began circulating privately. Not publicly at first. Not trending. Just passed between journalists, influencers, and industry figures with warnings attached. Be careful. This will change everything. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Those who claimed to have viewed it described the same reaction: silence, then disbelief, then dread. Because what the footage allegedly showed wasn't just conflict. It showed awareness. Planning. A moment where lines were crossed deliberately, not emotionally. Speculation exploded before confirmation could catch up. Some said it was footage from a private meeting. Others claimed it was recorded on a phone no one knew existed. A few whispered that it showed Mariah begging for boundaries, while someone else dismissed her concerns as necessary fallout. No one would go on record. But the fear in how they spoke said enough. Alana's camp finally broke their silence, not with clarity, but with deflection. A carefully worded statement leaked to select outlets, calling the situation deeply misunderstood and warning against weaponized narratives. It didn't deny the footage existed. It didn't explain why recordings were made. It didn't apologize. That omission was louder than any admission. Fans noticed immediately. Support fractured further. Longtime defenders went quiet. Neutral observers started asking harder questions. Why record family? Why prepare for exposure? Why decide what someone else's breaking point should look like? The conversation shifted from betrayal to control, from drama to ethics. And once that shift happened, there was no steering it back. Then Mariah posted. No filters. No glam. Just her face, exhausted and raw, eyes locked on the camera. I begged for privacy, she said. I was told this was love. Her voice cracked once. Then steadied. If loving me means destroying me to save yourself, then you never loved me. The clip spread faster than anything before it. Celebrities reacted in real time. Some with shock. An anonymous industry account dropped one last line, before disappearing. This wasn't meant to end the relationship. It was meant to control the aftermath. That sentence reframed everything. This wasn't a mistake. I didn't panic. It wasn't carelessness. It was preparation for a future where trust no longer mattered. And now that future had arrived, messier and louder than anyone anticipated. As of now, neither sister has spoken again. But insiders insist this isn't over. They say legal filings are imminent. That more material exists. That the next move won't come from social media, but from somewhere far more permanent. And when that happens, the story won't be about who leaked what. It will be about who planned for the fallout, and who finally refused to stay silent. If you're still here right now, it's because you can feel it too. This story isn't finished, it's coiled. What we've just witnessed isn't a messy celebrity disagreement. It's a slow-motion implosion of trust, power, and family loyalty playing out in front of millions, and the next move is going to land whether anyone is ready or not. This is the point where silence becomes dangerous. Where staying passive means missing the exact moment everything shifts. Because when the next leak drops, and insiders are adamant that it will, it won't come with a warning label. It won't wait for context. It will rewrite everything people thought they understood about this story in a single blow. So don't just watch this happen from the sidelines. Hit like if you felt your chest tighten when the recordings surfaced. Comment right now with your theory, not tomorrow, not after the next headline, but now, because people are already digging through the comments looking for the take that ends up being right. Do you believe this was protection gone wrong, or control disguised as love? Who do you think knew more than they admitted? And what do you think is still being hidden? Subscribe and turn on notifications, because when this story moves again, it won't be slow. It will be instant, explosive, and everywhere at once. The people who catch it early will shape the conversation, while everyone else is scrambling to catch up. This isn't just content anymore. It's a countdown. Stay here. Stay locked in. Because when the truth finally breaks through, you're going to